This video is going to be about hindsight, our journey thus far, and I'm really going to target the newbies here. My channel is growing a lot faster than I'm able to keep up with. It's a bit overwhelming to say the least, especially emotionally right now with Mars still in Pisces, even though I do feel a huge load was lifted off me when Mars turned around. Mercury as well. I don't think I've ever felt two retrogrades affect me so strongly. Really, it was very obvious to me, and I think to a lot of you as well. Things are coming to a crescendo, and we all know it. The world knows it. We're at a tipping point. It's make or break, and they've pushed everybody to the extremes. But those of us who can be the observer, that can stand in the middle, that can rise above the maze and look down on it, or that can look up and see the bigger picture, the long game, what's really going on, and be able to see that on many different levels, in many different dimensions. That is hard to explain. What I am sharing on this channel is what would be considered oral tradition. And it's oral for a reason, because it's almost impossible to put like in a book or in a comprehensive manner. It's something that must be studied over years, over dedication for long periods of time to really get it. And I'm trying to condense it as best as I can to even get a glimpse of what's really going on. And the best way that I found for me to do that is using the zodiac, because I could teach this same thing, especially from language, but it's clear to me that most people can't even grasp English or their own languages that they grew up with, much less alchemical languages. The imagery of it all. People to me were far more educated than we are. We're probably, in my opinion, one of the most dumbed down generations of history. We might as well be cavemen. We know nothing. We're in complete and utter darkness. We've been lied to, manipulated. The perjury of it all is incredible. It's massive at what has occurred. And to try to dig through this material and put it together, it's an art form. Now, years ago, I broke my back, was pregnant, had a really hard time, and I knew I could no longer do the job I had been doing. So, I went to vocational rehab, and they tested me. And, I mean, it was weeks worth of tests, and we done it in these groups. And they even psychologically evaluated us. Well, at the end, they didn't really even know how to freaking categorize me. There was no category. The best way they could explain it to me was I had a rare talent of knowing where things belong. I can put puzzles together. I can see the missing pieces. I scored massively high on the Japanese beta IQ test, which is quite different from your standard IQ test, which I've been given over and over. I've memorized them. I've taken them so many times. They're really a joke. They don't, to me, the IQ test doesn't judge your intelligence. It judges how well you've been programmed by the system. The questions that you are asked are those that have been taught to you or programmed into you during your education. It has nothing to do with the way your brain functions or how you think. It is, can you regurgitate what you've been told? And that's it. They're really a joke. So, the best way that I've found to present this information is through astrology, because this circle right here, no matter where you find it in the world, it's all telling you the same story. And each tradition around the world has information to offer you. You have to be very open-minded and be able to accept many different perspectives. When you're truly on that middle pillar and you're observer, you see that good is not good and evil is not evil. They are both necessary in duality. For this place to exist, you can't have one without the other. And one serves the other. And everything under the sun has a time and a season. Everything. The problem is, time has been hijacked. And that's quite obvious. We all know something's wrong with the world, and this is not the way it's supposed to be. We don't know how we know it. It's your higher self is telling you that, is how you know it. Now, can I prove that to you? No, but your higher self can. You can prove it to yourself if you're willing to put in the work. But these days, everybody wants to push a button and the screen to pop. They want, drive-thrus ain't fast enough. They're just not fast enough. I remember when we had to get out and actually walk to the store if we wanted something. Can't have anything delivered. But people today, you're not educated. You're just programmed. And I'm just being brutally honest. I would be a disservice to you if I was not. But to understand this material, it's not for everybody. It's just not. Everybody's chart's different. Ironically enough, the people that tend to belong here show up here. And those that are not ready for this, they may be ready for it in 10 years down the road. Watch a couple videos that don't resonate with you now. Fine, hang on to it. Put it on the shelf. It'll come back. Because this is everything in this circle. It's earth, water, air, fire. It's fixed, mutable, and cardinal. That's the same as saying liquid, solid, and gas. It's chemistry. They call it alchemy for a reason. Our chemistry is named from alchemy, which is actually very different from hermetics. Hermetics and alchemy are two different things. Hermetics, to me, is just one school of thought within alchemy. But alchemy is everything. It is the science, the language, the story of nature. Nature is a process. Nature's not a thing, it's a process. Alchemy is a process. And even our school system, 12 grades, why do you think that is? Why 12 grades? Because it's the process, it's the steps. AA, 12 steps, it's the process. It's an alchemical process of nature that's perfectly natural. And nature recycles itself. Nothing is ever lost. Ever. You cannot destroy energy. It just changes from one form to another. It changes from that liquid to that solid to that gas. And it recycles itself back around and it becomes something else. We are forever becoming. Well, in my perspective, who we are, we're not human beings. We are being human. We are having a human experience in materialism, in nature. We're part of it. We are consciousness having an experience within it. And the experience we need to have here is know thyself. Know thyself. Know who you are. Connect to the higher you within you that's taught all over the world. And what's within you will project outwards from you, and then you become the example. What's in a man's heart and mind is what comes out his mouth. Know thyself. We cannot change the world. You can only change you. You want the world to change? Start looking at the world differently. Get off those two pillars. Rise above the maze. Don't get caught up in the war that's going on. You find the inner peace within you, because that's all you can control. You can't control anything else or anybody around you, but you can control you. And alchemy teaches this. There's so much confusion right now in everything, especially religion. A lot of confusion going on there. And who's wrong and who's right? From where I'm standing, everybody's wrong and nobody's right. Nobody. I can only even get a glimpse of it. That, no, there's nothing here right. Everything here is wrong. And we freaking know it. Those that are on my channel, you know it. That's why you're here listening to me. Because something within you tells you that. That's what you need to connect with. That's something that's within you that's telling you that. And I present to you many different perspectives. I try to come at this as many different ways as I can, because we all learn in a different manner. We're all at different levels. We're all headed the same way, but we're all on our each individual paths. And we're different. It's like a big marathon race, and we're all in different places within the race. Some of us are further ahead than others. Now the one in front, what we do is we stop. When we get to the door, we stop. And we open the door. And we let everybody else go through. And then you're the last one in. So nobody gets left behind. There's too much fear. There's too much emotion going on right now. It's too much emotion. And that emotion activates the mouth. And we say things. Once you say something, you can't ever take it back. You just can't. You have to be prepared to take the consequences for what you say. And I have been ridiculed to no end. To have a YouTube channel, you better have tough skin. And you better be able to stand up for yourself too, because people will walk all over you. I've had my channel attacked so many times. Ugly videos about me. People trying to frickin' start petitions to take my channel down. For some reason, what I do highly offends other people. And I, for the life of me, I don't have a clue why. I don't go on their channels and try to take them down. But for some reason, I'm heavily judged. And all I can say is, you're going to be judged by what measure you judge others. So when you judge others, all you're really doing is judging yourself. And in the end, and I'm speaking from experience because I've had many near-death experiences, and yes, indeed, you have a life review. And guess who's the judge? You are. And your higher self is showing you everything from a third-person, third-eye perspective. You watch your life like it's a movie in front of you. Your higher self is showing you what they saw from their perspective to you. And you're the judge. When the Bible says, in that moment, in the twinkling of an eye, we shall all change, and this mortality shall put on immortality. And at the end, we're judged. It's you judging you. Some will awaken to everlasting life, and some to shame and self-condemnation. He'll judge you. Nobody else. You don't have to live with anybody else but you. I stood in a grocery store one night, and the lady behind me was friends with the cashier. And I think we were the only ones in there, and I had quite a few groceries. I had a buggy full. And she does all my groceries, bags them all up, puts them in my buggy, and tells me, thank you, you have a good night. And I just stood there, and I looked at her, and I said, don't you want to be paid? She didn't even take my money. Didn't ask for it. She's still yakking with her friend. So her friend says, wow, you could have just walked out of here with all those free groceries. And I said, yeah. And then I wouldn't have been able to sleep tonight, wondering when karma was coming. And I insisted to pay for my groceries. And I didn't do that for the store. It was a crappy store. They were ripping people off, selling us garbage. And that was here on the reservation years ago. The store's not there anymore. But that's a different story for a different day. I digress. Now I'll tell you again, it may not be much, but I've done you guys this homework for you. And a lot of you newbies, I know you don't understand a damn thing I'm saying, because you yet know how to hear what I'm saying. You have to see with astrological eyes and hear with alchemical ears. You need to be able to hear with your eyes and see with your ears. That's how crazy everything is to really understand it. And it's a process. And once you practice at it and make it like a little ritual of your life, looking at imagery and looking at those pictures and saying, what are they saying to me? That picture's talking to me. And you learn to hear with your eyes. And then you're listening to someone speak, like me speaking. Then you close your eyes and you start projecting in your mind's eye. Then you are seeing with your ears. And the world changes. Because you've moved from the left eye and the right eye. You've moved from the solar pillar and the lunar pillar. You've moved from that battle of fire and ice. And you've moved on to that middle pillar, and you can become the observer. But let me tell you about the middle pillar. Just like there are 3 stages to each of the other pillars, there's 3 stages to that middle pillar. You still have 3 steps up. You still have the adept, the master, and the grandmaster. There are levels to this. And what we're understanding here is actually looked at as the bad thing in the Nag Hammadi library. I should probably do a video on that. I've done several. But to just clarify who this character is that we call the demiurge, or who created this materialism that we seem to be trapped in, and how it's very deceptive. And because it builds monad upon monad, the conspiracy's so thick, so layered, you can't ever, it's like an onion. You just keep peeling and there's just more onion. It's going down that never-ending rabbit hole that never ends. It's actually designed that way, on purpose. It's to keep you going in circles. But if you just stop, what you have to do is stand in the middle of the wheel. You become the axle, and it turns around you. I don't want to have the argument anymore of are we on round Earth or flat Earth or there's no space or no moon. Who cares? You learn, I don't care what it is. I don't care if the moon is freaking Swiss cheese. It's still part of nature, and it's still projecting frequencies and energies that affect us. And I like to know how they affect me, and how, instead of them controlling me, how I control them. I know the power is ours, or they wouldn't take so much time manipulating us. But I also know the end game and how it all ends, because this is alchemy. And it ends with the quintessence, with the pure essence. But it's hard getting there. And it's not for everybody. If you've got attachments in your life, the more you're attached to materialism, the harder this is to see. Now, like I said, I didn't choose this. It chose me. I just stumbled up upon a bunch of information. I didn't believe in astrology. I didn't believe the Bible the way it was being taught from the pulpit. Still don't. Still don't believe in astrology. I don't believe in solar and lunar astrology. I got off those two pillars. I found the middle pillar. I found the stone the builders rejected. I found the Star of Bethlehem. And I know what it all means now. Without all the bibble babble. Without all the scribes and their scribbles. And to me, television, Hollywood, all of that media, corporate media, that's all that is. They're just wizards, warlocks, and Babylonian priesthood all over again. All over again. It's like they're like fleas. They're almost impossible to get rid of. It's just an infestation of them. Parasitic bloodsuckers. Absolutely good for nothing in nature. Nature could get rid of fleas. A cockroach has more purpose than a flea does. All it does is bring death and disease. And lives off something else. That's what they are to me, just fleas. It's a frickin' flea circus. We need to be making the fleas jump through the hoops. Instead, they've got us jumping through the hoops. It's a flea circus, but you don't realize the fleas are in control. And you never will, as long as you stay in the game. It's a competition. It's a war. The left and the right. The fire and the water. You need to be fixated somewhere between earth and air. Especially your hearts. It's great when Venus falls in earth and air signs. Because that's where our heart will gravitate to. We can look at the planets and what pillars that they're on, and we know what nature is projecting right now. So we at least know what to expect from ourselves and others. And that's being prepared. And we need to know the time of our visitations. I've got one upon me, my second Saturn return. This is my time. There's a lot going on for me. And had I not done my homework into my own chart, I wouldn't have known anything about all this coming down this year. But I've been telling you for a decade now to buckle up for 2020. Well, it's here. We're fixing to endure this. And it's only going to get crazier. It's only going to get crazier. This solstice is just the halfway point between these two eclipses. Pretty soon the show's going to be over in the grand celestial thing of it all. Something has to give one way or the other. But it can't continue like this. And when that happens, there's going to be great destruction on every scale. All the elements are in play. It appears, some call it catastrophism. It appears the way alchemy works, when you hit this crescendo and all of the elements are in play, it's like it's a power struggle, and they're all struggling to see who the winner's going to be. And they're all battling each other to see who's going to come out on top. But if you understood this wheel, then you would already know who's going to come out on top. And it prepares you, but it's not easy to understand. And I don't have time to sit around and argue with everybody over one little precept of the definition of one little word. I'm just not going to do it anymore. I don't have the patience for it at this point. I've laid the groundwork for all of this. All you have to do is go back and watch the videos. If you're new, I suggest the Brighteon channel. Start there so you can understand the linguistics and when I say things, what they mean. Because like I said, even though this is an oral tradition, in the oral tradition, the words are images, and then you retranslate back the image. The adjectives in the words are describing something to you that you're supposed to be creating with your mind's eye, and then it talks to you. So what it's saying is not what it's saying, it's what it's seeing. Did you get that? What it's saying is not what it's saying, it's what it's saying is what it's seeing. It's all in the mind's eye. Everything's a projection. And the new people coming on here, because you don't understand what I'm talking about, I fear the worst. I fear that all I'm going to do is confuse you. All I'm going to do is confuse you. And there's enough confusion going on. And I would not have you confused. So if you're really interested in what I'm talking about, then you can go watch the previous videos. Because, like, I can't just sum it up. There is no summary to all of this. What you're looking at here, the zodiac, that is the summary of it all. And if you can learn just this, then you can understand everything. Each house has a lesson. Each house evokes a particular frequency or energy. And that energy and frequency changes as the planets come through them. The more you take up your cross, which is your natal chart, and follow Fomalhaut, the star of Bethlehem, then it's going to start talking to you. When you pay attention to it's almost like a thing of respect. You will earn this circle's respect. I have. And there's nothing about this place that I respect at all. But when you see the big picture of it all, and the true meaning of it all, I'm in awe. And because this is the only thing I've ever found that helped me to understand and connect to when I was a child and opened my third eye. And I didn't just walk in the land of milk and honey. I danced. I've been there. And I know that when I leave here, that's where I'm going. But I know we can go there now. It's just, and people ask me, how do I open my third eye? I don't know. God help you if you have to go through what I did to open your third eye. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But I do tell you that I've been very honest and open about it. and that literally, I don't know how, other than I was starving myself to death. So I guess from a religious point of view, I was fasting, and that I was broken. I had a broken heart, uh, broken mind, broken heart, broken soul, broken body. There wasn't a piece of me that didn't want to get out of this place. And in the Old Testament, and I've done these videos, where you don't understand the different gods. And the God I serve is the one that said, your sacrifices and your festivals, they're an abomination unto me. I'm looking for a pure and contrite heart, a broken heart. And that's who I serve. I hear his voice. I can tell the difference between these gods, and I know their representations on this circle. And all I can do is point you in the way. It's up to you to do your own homework and prove it to yourself. But I don't have to prove anything to anybody. And nobody's forcing you to watch my videos. Nobody's twisting your arm. You're here of your own free will or divine intervention or interdimensional intervention. A lot of you are very curious, what are my stances on flat earth, round earth? I told you I'm eyeball earth. Flat earth is round earth is solar pillar, flat earth is lunar pillar, whether you like it or not. You're pitting against each other. The only out there is I'm eyeball earth. The pupil is the entrance to hollow earth. We're under the dome on flat earth in the iris. The south pole is beyond the white wall ball, back to the back of the eyeball. Oh, you can't go there. That's where the ganglia connect to the cosmic mind. I believe earth is the third eye. I believe it's calcified with temples and cathedrals and government buildings and institutions and corporations all over the world. It's calcified with all this limestone they put everywhere. But it's going to open. The sun is the right eye, the moon is the left eye. Where's the third eye? We are the third eye. And the only way to connect with that is within. It's not something outside of yourself. When you know yourself, then you can connect within. And then all of this starts making sense to you. You become a new person. You are born again. Now, I took myself out in the cotton field and just flung myself face down in the dirt, grieving, broken. I had been humiliated. I peed on myself at school that day, and I was humiliated. I'd already been starving myself. I already wanted out. But bam, there was no technique. There was no meditation. Mine was perfectly natural. I'd had enough. I let go. I let go so hard I didn't want anymore. I don't want to be here. This place sucks. It's not what's supposed to be. I would love to be here if it's the world that I'm in this world, but I'm not of it. But if it was the world I was supposed to be born into, great. But no, this ain't where I'm supposed to be. And I know it. Now, I don't know about a lot of other people talk about being in the womb. I didn't even come into the body till it was walking around. I'd already been pretty much potty trained by the time I came into the body. I remember it. I remember everything. I remember before coming into the body. Can I prove any of this to you? Nope. Do I care whether you believe me or not? Not at all. I could care less what you think or what you believe. You're on your own journey. You have your own cross, and I'm not going to carry it for you. 23 out of 30 people have been double-crossed, and they don't even know it, and don't have a clue what that means. But I found my cross. I found the stone the builders rejected. I found that narrow path, that straight and narrow path. I learned to read the symbols. I've spent hours and days and weeks and months and years doing this. I hope to save you that time. But I don't have time for petty arguments about semantics and stuff that don't even matter. And I don't care what you think of me. And I don't have anything to prove to anyone. I'm simply sharing. I've simply put food on the table. Eat what you like, and if you don't like it, you can spit it out. I've had people spit out food and then come back later and tell me they changed their mind. They wanted some more. We grow up and our palates change. I was picky as a kid. I grew up on a farm and I knew that pig was my friend and that chicken was my friend before it was on the table. I didn't eat meat. I couldn't drink milk. I practically lived on oatmeal. Wouldn't eat eggs. None of it. It grieved my soul to know that they were just looked at as food, when I was quite aware they were living, conscious entities no different than ourselves. You are privileged to have incarnated in as being human instead of being dog or cat or flea. But I guess I'm considered a walk-in by other people's definition. That I'm possibly not the first soul in this body, and if there was another soul before mine, I don't blame it for leaving. I didn't want to be here either. I definitely drew the short straw, especially in my family. I drew the short straw for families and then my place in the family. I was the scapegoat. And it was a heavy cross to carry. And I have had no help doing it. I've had to do this on my own. I hope to save you that trouble. I hope to undouble cross those of you who have been double crossed. At least you'll dump off half the load and burden that you're walking with in life. But if I can get as many of you off those two pillars and start balancing out the middle of this equation, that's how the world around us is going to change. That's the only way it's going to change. And the best way to do that is through the symbolism. And it doesn't matter if you know what it means or not. That's quite obvious. The way the corporations are using the logos against us instead of for us. They use the logos to benefit themselves and prey upon us. Because we're naive and we're gullible and we've been programmed. We're constantly fighting with each other. Instead of, if you're going to fight with somebody, you need to do it with yourself. That's the only fight you're ever going to have that's going to truly benefit you, that you can actually win. I know of no other war where there's an actual winner. Wars, everybody comes out losers but the frickin' bankers. And that's because they're not involved, other than they funded both sides. But center within yourself. Find your middle pillar within. We have a whole zodiac inside of us. You have a crown on your head with a zodiac on your head. It's in your brain and in your mind and in your being. And everything in your brain, that crown up there controls your body below. Now, like the rainbow flag being flipped, that's flipping the chakra system in your body. Now you're upside down. Now you're thinking with your emotions and your sexual organs instead of with your higher self. I don't know why that's hard to understand. I don't know why so many people, I've had more negative comments on about the past 5 videos than I have negative comments in all my videos put together, even with people attacking me. I'm not sure where this is coming from other than the retrogrades that have been going on and people are tipping off the scales. There are a lot of new people here who you don't know what I'm talking about, and I say something a way you don't approve of, you're offended, and now it's just explode. Well, we're just not going to do that here. You're just not ready for this. You're not here yet. One day you will be, because we all will be. We're all at different places here. I'm trying to tell you there's a bridge ahead. They blew it out. We need to find a way across. They've blown the bridge. We had a rainbow bridge and they frickin' blew it up, and now we can't get across. When we think we're going across the bridge, it's just bringing us back and dumping us right where we started. We need to get across the bridge. And the only way I know across the bridge is to put the bridge back the way it used to be. And those of you who have actually done what I suggested and have your purple on top rainbow flags in your house or on your laptop, you're already noticing the change in the environment. Things are changing. And the more of these symbols that we can correct or dismiss, it's better to have no symbols than a bad one, right? That way you're not evoking that. We all have so much energies coming at us all the time. We have to channel these energies. And they're coming from everywhere, and especially me. I'm pushing 10,000 viewers on one channel, 3,000 on another. This is hard. I've got so much energy coming at me all the time. And it's harder and harder to bear. I don't know how much longer I can do it. I really don't. Especially facing my second Saturn return. I feel I'm under the gun, under fire, being tested 24/7. And testing myself. Being thrown in the fire and see what I'm made of. I already know what I'm made of. I remember. And that would be the easiest way to answer the equation across the board, is once we remember, we don't have to have the process anymore. This is just shit we've forgotten. We've just forgotten. And we've been lied to and manipulated about what it is and what it means. Alright, people. I've done your homework. Just go watch the videos. Know thyself. If you're going to judge somebody, judge yourself. If you've got an opinion you feel like you need to express, put it on your channel. Start making videos. Put yourself out there. You don't know my life. You don't know what I go through. You haven't walked in my shoes. I try to share. I try to be as open and as personable as possible. I'm extremely flawed and only being human, limited like the rest of you. I'm not anything better than any of you. As far as I'm concerned, my life has been an utter failure. I was a failure as a daughter, a failure as a sister, a failure as a wife, a mother, everything. Everything. I only survived all of that. But I found this is the only thing that I have found that's given my life meaning, purpose, understanding, and I'm finally at peace. 'Cause now I know. I'm not guessing anymore. I can see it. I see it all. Because I've learned to become the observer. Stand on the middle pillar. And I know what it's like before I learned this. I was no different. I would go on other channels and argue with them about this and that. I used to do that too. I don't do that anymore. It's hard enough to keep up with my own channel. I sure don't go out attacking others. I've never attacked others' channels or tried to get them taken down. I just wish people would wake up sometime and get over the hate, the animosity, the pride. Oh, that's a big one in play right now. I didn't think about that. When you talk about that masculine axis of the the cardinal cross, and the part it's playing right now, that it's very, that prideful card, when they flip Peter's cross, when Peter dies upside down and they flip that cross, Mars is going to go from the top to the bottom, and it's what I call Lucifer rising. Lucifer rising. There's a lot of that going on in politics right now, huh? On both pillars, a lot of arrogance, culture wars, all this arrogance of one side thinking it's better than the other. Oh well, it is what it is. But what it is, if you really understood it, it's awe-inspiring. What I finally get, I get overwhelmed when I think of the statement in the Bible that says, it is beyond the imagination of man to know what has been prepared for us, what our future really holds. It's beyond what we could even imagine. And I have an incredible imagination. I have a retrograde Neptune in Libra imagination. So, if I am arrogant anywhere, it's generally in my imagination. I can be arrogant in my imagining things and projecting them in my mind. I can play God creating worlds. I do that in my mind. If I created a world, I'd do it this way, right? My own little universe. But to truly understand creation, it's duality that gives you the perspective. And to live is to experience both pillars, but then to rise above it and see it for what it is, to find that balance in that middle pillar between them. And for aeons, the way the alchemical wheel has set up, the resolution has always been to join the two pillars. That battle of fire and ice, and then the marriage of the son and the daughter, the marriage of the two lands, and the two become one. When they fail to tell you there is the other way. And that's the middle pillar. It's the observer. You just sit in the audience and watch the show. Because it's the observer that affects the experiment. The observer is the only one that can initiate actual change through manifestation. The two others are wasting all their energy warring with one another, trying to find balance. It's the competition. It's the battle of the sexes. And it's out of control right now. And most of that out of control is because of what they're doing with the symbols. If not all of it. And I would say most of it is what they've done with the symbols, and then where the planets currently are in the sequence of things, really escalating, and tempers flaring, and everything's coming to a boiling point, to that apex. And so all we can really do is just maintain ourselves. Alright? You do you, and the rest will follow. I know we want to help our loved ones and be there for them and all, but if you're a mess, then what are you going to do for them? You do you, and you be ready. And then you'll be able to help them. And the only thing that we should have attachments to here are the ones we love. Things and other inanimate materialism mean nothing. And I can't tell you how it's more important what goes into your mind than what goes into your body. A cow eats grass. A goat, sheep, they eat grass. We can survive on anything pretty much, except rocks. I don't think we could survive on rocks. Very little nutritional value there. The body is an amazing thing, and you can put just about anything into it to create fuel. Now, yeah, there are things that are not healthy for the body, and there are things that are healthy for the body, and it's your car. You should take care of it. But to make that the mountain you die on in life, that's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. You're going to live as long as you're supposed to live. If you're not going to die of one thing, you'll die of something else. But everything is set here, right down to the number of the hairs on your head. Alright, people, be the kindness. Go create that random act of kindness every single chance you get. If you can't find one, create one. Bank your karma. We're all fixing to have to cash some in. So the more you got banked, the better off you're going to be. It's going to be easier to go through what's coming. You saved that spiritual karma. Alright, I'd like to welcome to all the newbies. Go do your homework, play catch up, and thank for those who donate to this channel. I appreciate it. There aren't very many of you, but you are what holds this channel together and helps me keep it going. I love you all.